So you're working full time and you don't have that much time to train your chess, but you still want to consistently improve. Well, this video is perfect for you because I'm gonna tell you exactly two things that you have to do that are the most efficient for your chess improvement despite the lack of time. And wait for the second one because it's probably the most important thing you can do so that you improve even faster. But I want to start with this one. So if you have at least 30 minutes of your time, then you have to focus on deliberate practice. And to do that, you need a high quality chess puzzle so that you can really focus and train your ability to calculate the variations. Why it's so important to focus on calculation? Well, because it determines the result of 99% of all of the chess games you play. If you're anywhere below 2000, but frankly, even on my level 2400, I still feel like most of my games are decided in terms of who calculates better. So you absolutely must focus on building this skill, and the best way to do that is just to train it like you go to the gym to train your muscles. Well, the same way you have to take a high quality chess puzzle and then invest your time into trying to calculating the positions, trying to understand what are your options, what kind of opportunities your opponent has, and trying to solve it. Even if you fail at that, it doesn't really matter that much as long as you really train your minds to be able to solve such puzzles, to calculate those variations. You will inevitably see the progress in your chess game. So here I'm gonna show you exactly how I do it, and I recommend you do the same. So if you have, let's say, 30 minutes per day, then you can solve 1 to 2 puzzles a day. If you have an hour, you can pick up even a little bit more. Doesn't really matter that much. Consistency helps you more, so that if you do it every day, that would be like a fantastic case scenario. If you make it every second day, that would be still very good, but it's always better to do it consistently than spending like 5 hours at once, but then 2 weeks you don't do anything. That would be more difficult for your brain to comprehend and to understand and to use those skills when you actually need it when you play your real games. So in this position, it's wide to move, and first of all I want you to pause the video. You can use the videos on Journey to Grandmaster as your way of deliberate practice, because I'm all about these practical, useful tips for you and these positions that you can use to train your calculation skills. Why to play, try to understand what kind of opportunities you have, consider your options, calculate the variations, and then I'm gonna explain you whether that was correct, and I'm gonna try to do it myself so that you can compare your decision-making process, your thought process with mine. What's up, chess player, and welcome to the Journey to Grandmaster, the place where you can improve every single aspect of your chess game. So let's try to solve this position together. It looks so interesting, so promising for white, because this king is absolutely naked. So first of all, I just want to evaluate the position. It's so important that you understand where you stand before you actually start considering your options. So the king's safety. This king is definitely weaker. Our king also is not the greatest one. We don't have this f2 pawn to cover, but well, there is only one queen here potentially attacking, whereas the second step, by the way, is to look at the pieces potential. First of all, how many pieces we have? Well, we both have a queen and two rooks. What about the pawns? Our opponent has two more pawns, but our pieces are much more active, and that is also very important. So of course we would be happy now starting calculating some variations to play something like rook f5 and just destroy opponent immediately with the checkmate, but we don't need to be so fast with that. We first need to consider, okay, maybe our opponent has some threats. Well, currently he has this one check queen e3, which we absolutely have to acknowledge. For example, if we play that rook f5 line, then queen e3 check is possible, and then if our king goes back, then queen e1, and we need to go back with our rook. And of course, if the rook ever leaves the back rank, like in the case of that check, then once again queen to e1 is possible, and the rook has to go back. Now, it's not a big deal, but it gives our opponent once again the opportunity to play queen e3. We have to play king h1, if we don't want like to bring our queen back, which would be stupid. If we are attacking, if we want to checkmate our opponent, we don't need to exchange the queens. That would reduce our attacking potential hugely. So basically what we need to do is to give our opponent a checkmate before he can create some counter threat. The great thing is our opponent's rooks are absolutely not participating in the attack. This rook is useful in terms of the defense, otherwise we would be already checkmating. And this rook is not participating at all. But it's not going to be like that forever. If we give just a few tempi to our opponent, he is going to play rook to e8, rook e6 or something, and the rook would be active in the defense, in the attack, in the game in general, and we don't want that. So we need to use our momentum. So, of course, we always start with the most active opportunities, which are checks, captures, and threats. So I only see one reasonable check here, queen to g5, into h8, and now the question is, do we have any follow-up? What I noticed is the queen on g5 is controlling that e3 square that was our concern previously, so maybe we can somehow use it. Play rook takes f5, but the problem is we still have that back rank issue. Queen to e1, rook f1 back, and the queen can go back to e6, for example. Not sure we achieve much, like we won this weak pawn, congratulations, but otherwise we are not nearer to attacking that king and creating very dangerous threats. Because, yeah, our opponent basically wants just to play queen e6. The best thing that can happen to black in such a position is exchanging the queens. The queen's e6 would be a beautiful move to make, and basically that is a threat which we have to acknowledge. Okay, that leads me to the second step, which is captures among the most active opportunities. So I can take this pawn, like I already mentioned with the rook, with the queen, but in both cases, yeah, something like if rook takes, then rook e1, rook has to go back and then queen e6. If queen takes, then just queen e6, for example, and that attacks the rook, the queen. If queen g5, we have queen g6 covering that, so it doesn't feel that promising. The third step is creating threats. Threat is an opportunity to do something very dangerous on your very next move. For example, creating a checkmate threat in one, that would be move rook to d3 with an idea to play rook g3 and the king has nowhere to hide. But unfortunately, rook d3 runs into queen takes d3. So that is a very good advice for you. Never make your move unless you think what your opponent might do afterwards. And especially if you move any of your pieces, check whether this piece can be taken by your opponent. So that is not a move. The next thing I can attack, create a threat against, is the queen. How can I attack that? Well, I can play something like rook f2, but we already figured out leaving the back rank is not the best idea. But what I like is potentially the move rook to e7, because that attacks this queen, that stops that queen e3 check, and that stops this rook queen to e6 idea to exchange the queens. Now I'm attacking the queen, so I have to consider what the queen can do. First of all, I think about this queen to g4 move because it helps. Somehow the queen wants to come back and help the defense. But I guess the problem is I just play rook e3, and then there is no defense against rook g3. Maybe just f4, but okay, rook e5, or maybe even just rook takes f4, queen goes back, I go back as well, I attack the queen, yes, and I'm coming with rook g3, that's just winning. Okay, so rook e7 seems to be very promising. Let's say queen to h5 with the same idea, but not standing along this g file. I guess that doesn't really change anything at all. I just play rook e3 with an idea to play rook g3, and I don't see any defense. Okay, he might move his pawn, but that's still a checkmate. Rook g3 check, king h7, queen g7 checkmate. If he plays queen g6, we just win the queen, that's enough. Okay, the more I look at it, the stronger rook to e7 feels. Let's consider different options. First of all, let's say that our opponent has to move the queen because rook e8 or something is not helpful. We just win the queen and the game. And he cannot create any counter threats, like attack my queen would be helpful, but there is no way to do that. He has no checks, except for queen takes f1, but that also loses the queen. So, okay, the queen has to go somewhere. We have considered those moves, d3 and c4. Let's say d3, because that at least stops our rook e3 idea. Makes sense, right? What can we do in this case? Maybe we can just play rook takes f5. We create a threat of rook g5, which is devastating. And if our opponent gives a check, we just go back. Important that there is no check here and there is no check on d4 because our queen is controlling that. And if the queen goes back to d3, then with an absence of this pawn, we can just play rook e5 and once again rook g5 threat. Okay, let's do it one more time. Rook e7, queen d3. Just rook takes f5. That seems easy enough. Maybe our opponent has something like h6. Now we cannot take it because the rook is hanging, and we cannot play rook g5 because the square is covered. Yeah, I feel like queen to d3 is the most reasonable option for black, but I don't feel it can be enough. I have another idea. Rook e7, queen to d3, rook f3. Now I'm attacking the queen, and I'm threatening rook g3 checkmate. The only two checks that are available, I mean, the opponent absolutely must give me a checkmate, a check, otherwise he's busted. Queen d1, I play king to f2. Now the only check I see is either c2 or d2, in every case on the second rank. And against each of the moves I have rook to e2 back, because this rook I need to play rook g3. Yeah, maybe queen c2, rook e2, and queen c5 check. And yeah, it's a little bit annoying, not that simple to avoid the checks. Maybe I can still do it. Like I play king to f1. Now, if you don't give me any checks, I play there. Actually, maybe you can get away with rook e8. Wait, my rook is somewhere here, so no, rook g3 and queen h8 would be just checkmate. So once again, let's repeat the variation. Rook e7, queen to d3, rook f3, queen to d1, king to f2, queen to c2, rook to e2, blocking. Queen to c5, just king f1. Now, queen to c1, I play rook e1. Queen to c4 check, I play king g1. Queen to c5 check, I play king h1, and then rook g3 is coming. He plays f4. Yeah, just rook takes f4. I mean, still the same threat. That feels a little bit complicated, quite a lot of moves, but I actually don't see what black can do. Maybe I'm missing some opportunities, either for me or for my opponent. So rook e7, queen to d3. Maybe I have something stronger over here. So if I don't play rook f3, I rather play rook f5 with the same idea. Then queen d1 check. Okay, I mentioned I can just play rook f3 back, and then queen d3, just rook f5. Yeah, that absolutely must be good enough, because now if h6, I can just play queen takes h6. Ah, maybe not, because he has queen d4 check and he's winning my rook. Yeah, I have to be a little bit careful, but I can't believe this king can survive there. Okay, rook e7, queen d3. I don't want to play queen g5 in any of the variations, because then he would always have this opportunity to control this diagonal, remove his queen. The king would also be not on this file, so I feel like the f6 square is the best for the queen. And I feel like rook e7 is a very useful move because it stops this idea of queen e6, which, yeah, is what my opponent really wants to make. The question is, how do I win after queen d3? Maybe it's something simple, like the move rook f to e1. That creates a threat of just rook e3, rook 7 to e3, with rook g3 lift. And he cannot play rook e8 because I have more attackers, I'm gonna just take it. Doesn't have any checks either. So that is coming. If he plays f4, I just play rook e5 with the same idea. And then h6 doesn't help, I just take it. It actually feels strong enough. And maybe queen d8, because now I cannot play rook e3, the queen is under attack. But in this case, just rook e3, check, king f2, queen d2, check. Yeah, he's still annoying me with the checks. So you see how important it is to think about your opponent's opportunities. And that is, by the way, one of the main things that you train here while solving those puzzles. Rook e7, queen to d3. Rook e1 seems like a very nice idea. And queen d8 is a move back, a very passive one. It doesn't create any threats, so I can never believe. Like, honestly, even if I just play h4, preparing h5 and h6, I see absolutely no ways for black to survive. If he ever plays h6, I just take it. Yeah, there is one drawback to the move h4 that I'm gonna close the h file for my rooks. But okay, like frankly, you should never be afraid of a move such as queen d8. Black has 0 active ideas. Rook e8 is a desirable move to exchange a lot of pieces. It's not possible because of rook takes e8. Otherwise, you can never move your queen because rook e3 is coming, so everything would win there. Otherwise, rook e7, queen d3, I want to play rook e1 and prepare the move rook 7 to e3, which is a devastating threat. If f4, I have rook 7 to e5, is lift rook to g5 and check. And what's good about this rook on e1, that no rook somewhere, rook d8 ideas are working because I give the check, king goes to f8, and I play queen h8, checkmate. Okay, let's double check. Maybe I have blundered something. Rook e7, maybe queen c4, the move I haven't considered first. But rook to e3 anyway, and maybe queen to c5, and that would pin my rook. That is reasonable because of course I can play queen g5, protecting my rook, but that is still pinned, so how do I make any progress? Maybe I play rook to f3 with the second rook, rather than here that move, queen c1 check, in f2. Still a bit annoying. Queen to c2, rook e2, queen c5 check in f1, and I'm coming back to that line. Maybe I'm missing something simple here. Okay, let's forget about rook e7 for 1 minute and think about something else. I cannot play rook e3 or rook f5 because queen e3 and queen e1 and queen e3 are very annoying. And my rook on d7, why I like the move rook e7, because the rook on d7 is not doing much. It's attacking the f7 pawn, of course, but apart from that, yeah, that's by the way another reason why this rook never moves. Rook e8 is never possible because I'm just threatening to play queen takes f7. But apart from that, the rook is not doing much there. Queen takes f5, I don't know, it feels a little bit weird. Still queen e6. Queen e6 is coming no matter what, basically. I cannot play h4 and ideas like that because of queen e6. So rook e7, queen c4, queen to c5 is coming. Maybe I just play queen takes f5 now. No, that's somehow too cheap. Don't like it. I definitely don't really like the variation rook e7, queen to c4, rook e3, and queen to c5. Because my rook is pinned and he's basically threatened to play something like rook e8, attacking even more. And yeah, that somehow feels very annoying. What if I still do the same thing? Like I play rook e7, queen c4, and rook e1. I'm stopping any rook e8 ideas. And if he plays queen c5 check, I just have king h1, and then rook e3 and rook e3 coming with a devastating effect. Let's say he plays, instead of queen c5 check, queen to g4, but still rook e3, and still rook g3 is coming, and there is absolutely no defense. Yeah, I like that. That is simple enough. Just bring your king to safety so that there are no checks, no pins, and then continue your plan. I like the move rook f to e1 because it stopped those rook 8 to e8 ideas to exchange stuff. Okay, so that would be my answer. Rook to e7, queen goes somewhere, then I play rook to e1, and then I play, in case of those queen c5 ideas, king to h1, and rook e3 and rook g3 is my plan to win the game. As long as my rook on e7, this rook cannot move, and when it comes to here, it's too late to move because I have those rook g3 ideas, and because my second rook is there, the king is going to be checkmated. Now, let's compare this solution with the right one. This is a very good moment for me to say big thank you to the sponsor of this video, Chestnut, for providing this amazing Chestnut Evo for the purposes of this analysis and pretty much all of the chess training I do nowadays, because I have my book here, by the way, that's Grandmaster Preparation from Jakob Aagaard's nice book, and I have here all of the positions. I have here the second board if I need like some long sidelines or whatever, and I have here all of the solutions, but it's hidden. That's so nice, so that I don't care that I can see somehow the solution. It's always hidden, and now once I'm ready, I can go for it and see that queen f5, for example, is a mistake. Okay, I haven't even really considered that move. So Chestnut has a lot of different boards that you can use in your chess training, in your chess play, because you can play online using this board, chess.com and lead chess. And the best thing is you can use the Journey to Grandmaster promo code or just the link in the description to get a big discount or whatever product you want to purchase from Chestnut. They have so many boards depending on your needs and your budget, so definitely take a look. That's worth your attention. Now, queen takes f5 is a mistake. By the way, talking about these sidelines, I can just click on the move. So in the game, queen takes f5 happened, and black played king to h8. That's very weird. That's like allowing us to play queen f6 back, given a check, and then we have the same position but without the pawn. Instead of that, queen takes b2 was possible, and it's questionable whether we can speak of white advantage at all. Okay, but in the game, queen to f6 happened, king to h8, king to g8, sorry, and then rook to f5. Rook e7, according to the author, is extremely strong. That gives me a good hope. But white played rook f5, another mistake. And now after queen to e1, rook f1, queen e3, that's basically the variation I considered. King to h1 and queen to e6. Black is not fully out of woods, but he's close. Okay, rook to b7 happened, queen to f6, rook takes f6. Yeah, now we are getting to the endgame. It's not clear whether black can save it, but at least it's a huge chance because no checkmate is possible anymore. Another move is rook takes b7. By the way, let me know in the comments what was your idea. I'm so curious to know. But yeah, that would be some advantage, this rook takes b7 move. But once you get confused, even second best moves can easily elude you. White could have eliminated the defense seen in the game by first playing rook to e7. Yay, we have got the first move, when black is immediately out of good options. Queen to d2. Yeah, queen to d2, by the way, is something I haven't really considered, but I guess the plan is the same. There are lots of win moves available, which all result in a check on d1, so I will give just the one. Objectively best is queen to c4. Yeah, queen to c4 is exactly what I was thinking as well. When after rook takes f5, black can delay the brutality with rook f d8. Here the easiest way is h3. Okay, so rook takes f5, rook d8, and just h3. Create this luft for the king, then rook g5 is coming, and yeah, so many threats, just impossible to deal with all of them. Queen d4, yeah, queen d4, by the way, that's important. That's exchanging the queens. Rook takes, and rook f takes f7. But when you have two rooks on the 7th rank, that is, of course, devastating. So this position is completely winning. We are going to win all of the pawns. On the 7th rank, we are going to have those checkmating ideas. So black is hopeless. And here, the right move is just rook takes f5. White doesn't even need anything fancy. Like I was thinking about this rook e1 line, just not to allow those multiple checks along the back rank. It's not necessary because after queen to d1, okay, there is another move, first h3, h6, sorry. Let's check that. Now rook to f3 does not improve things for black. Into h7, queen f5, goes to h8, and just queen e5 with mate. Yeah, centralizing the queen is often a very good idea. Yeah, because after rook h7, we are just opening up this f rook and we take on f7, and that's a checkmate. Okay, that's easy enough. So let's go back here. Rook takes f5, we played queen to d1. Now king to f2. There are a few alternatives to the main line here, but it's both cool and simple, so I shall stick with it. Yeah, so I believe the most important thing is that we have found that rook e7 move first, and afterwards there are different solutions, but since there is no real counterplay for black, we can just focus on our active ideas and deliver a checkmate. Queen d2 into g3. Okay, that's actually an advantage to the move rook f3. This rook f5 idea that we can easily go to g3 and rook g5 is still a threat. Queen to d3 check, king to h4, queen to c4, king to h5, h6, and King takes h6. Wow, that's absolutely impressive here. The king goes to the attack and basically participates in giving a checkmate because queen g7 is a checkmate threat, and there are no real checks. Queen c1 is the only one, but then just rook g5. The game is over. That's fantastic. Imagine how cool it would be to play chess without ever having opening troubles again. What if I told you I could teach you all openings you will ever need in just 10 days? You get lifetime access to more than 110 pure value video tutorials, almost 100 practical tasks to apply your knowledge immediately into practice, 30 plus bonus videos to dive 10 times deeper, as well as private community where all questions you might ever have are answered daily. Get the $200 limited time discount with the link in the description and forget about all opening pain once and for all. Let me know in the comments whether you have managed to solve it, but that's actually how you improve at chess this training, even though I haven't found all of that fancy moves, but just the fact that I was thinking about it, I was calculating my variations, I was calculating the opponent's opportunities. That was very, very useful. And if you do that consistently, you're going to improve in chess much sooner than you might imagine. Now, the second way that you can improve your chess, this is so important to do the right way. If you do that, you're going to improve so much. That is analyzing your own games. Because of course you want to play, you want to practice your playing skills, but if you don't analyze it afterwards, then it's just a spoiled opportunity. You're gonna make the same mistakes over and over again. But how to do it the right way? Well, in this video I share with you my tournament game. I analyze it for you. It was a very rich one, so you can learn so many small things in the process. But also, if you're gonna do the same way with your games, you're gonna become such a stronger chess player.